My sister slapped me at her engagement party, so I exposed her dark secret and ruined her perfect life. And then, hey, I'm Hannah, 27 years old, and I've always been the quiet, steady one. You know, the type who loves routines and finds peace in predictability. For the past 5 years, I've worked as a manager at a travel agency. It's not glamorous, but I'm proud of how far I've come. I even got promoted to senior manager last month, a title I worked my butt off for. But, of course, none of that matters when you've got a sister like Samantha. Samantha is 2 years older than me and the complete opposite of everything I am. Loud, magnetic, and always the center of attention. Since we were kids, she was the star. Led roles in school plays, prom queen, and naturally, my parents' golden child. Meanwhile, I was the background character, the reliable, boring sister who did her homework and stayed out of trouble. I thought maybe things would change once we became adults, but nope. Samantha kept shining while I stayed in her shadow. She became a social media influencer after college, building a brand on beauty tips, lifestyle hacks, and a carefully curated perfect life. Millions of followers, brand deals, magazine covers, you name it. She had it. My parents? They ate it up. Every family dinner turned into a Samantha show. Samantha, your latest video is going viral. Samantha, tell us about that luxury trip you took for that skincare ad. And me? Oh, I try to share a little something about my life, but it always got drowned out. So, fast forward to last month. I had just been promoted to senior manager at my agency. A major deal closed under my leadership, and my boss recognized my hard work. I was over the moon. I decided to share the news over dinner with my parents, hoping, just maybe, they'd finally be proud of me. I barely got the words out before the front door burst open, and in stormed Samantha, her voice filling the entire house. Guess what, everyone? Leo proposed, she shrieked, flashing a massive diamond ring that probably cost more than my yearly salary. My mom jumped up, tears streaming, clutching Samantha like she'd won the lottery. My dad pulled out his phone to snap a dozen pictures. Oh, honey, this is incredible, they gushed. Leo's family is so prestigious. This is going to be the wedding of the year. I sat there, my promotion forgotten, with a fake smile plastered on my face. Congratulations, Sam. I managed, and I meant it. I really did. Despite everything, I was happy for her. But did anyone even hear me? Probably not. Then came the kicker. We're having the engagement party here, Samantha announced, already scrolling through her phone. Leo's parents and their whole circle will be there. It has to be perfect. Mom immediately started throwing out names for the guest list. Uncle Paul, who runs that big law firm, Cousin Valerie, the heart surgeon, Professor Kevin from Dad's side, all their successful friends and relatives. I was standing awkwardly by the door when Dad suggested, "What about Aunt Marie?" Samantha scrunched her nose. Marie? The one who works at that hardware store? No way. We're keeping it exclusive. I couldn't help it. A little laugh slipped out and I muttered, guess I shouldn't expect an invite then. Senior manager at a travel agency isn't exactly impressive. The room fell dead silent. Samantha's eyes snapped up from her phone, and she gave me this slow, deliberate once-over. Well, she said, her voice dripping with condescension, I guess you'll have to come. Leo knows I have a sister, and it'd look weird if you weren't there. She smirked and added, it'd be awkward to explain your absence. And my parents? They nodded along like this was totally reasonable. Like my presence was just a formality, an accessory to Samantha's picture-perfect event. I felt my stomach knot up, but instead of arguing, I just swallowed it down. What was the point? The weeks leading up to the party were a blur. I stopped going to family dinners. Every time I called, I could barely get a word in over the chaos. Mom arguing with caterers, Dad fussing over wine pairings, Samantha barking orders at decorators. Then, 3 weeks in, my phone buzzed. Samantha. It was the first time she'd reached out since that awkward dinner. Hello? I answered, bracing myself. Finally, she chirped without even a hello. I got my dress today, $10,000. Custom made. Leo's mom came with me to the boutique. She said I looked like a princess. I gave a non-committal, that's nice, Her tone instantly shifted to that bossy, cutting edge I knew too well. Look, you need to get something decent to wear. And I mean decent, not your usual thrift store special. My jaw tightened. My clothes are fine, Samantha. No, they're not, she snapped. You always look like you're running errands, not attending an engagement party. I'm not having you embarrass me. Get something appropriate. And for God's sake, do something with your hair for once. Before I could even answer, she hung up. I stared at my phone, my chest tight with anger. But the worst part? Somewhere deep down, I started to wonder if she was right. So, the next day, I left work early and went shopping. Store after store, rack after rack, I felt out of place. But then, I found it. An emerald green dress, elegant and simple, that hugged me in all the right places. When I looked in the mirror, for once, I didn't see boring Hannah. I saw someone beautiful. I bought it. Shoes, accessories, the whole package. If I was going to walk into that party, I was walking in with my head high. I didn't know it then, but that party? It was going to change everything. So, the day of Samantha's big engagement party finally arrived. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't nervous. I spent the afternoon getting my hair and makeup done. Soft waves, a little smoky eye, and a hint of lipstick. I slipped into my emerald green dress, the one that made me feel like a whole new person. For once, I actually felt confident. But that feeling wouldn't last long. The second I pulled up to my parents' house, I felt out of place. The entire front yard was a sea of luxury cars, BMWs, Porsches, even a Rolls-Royce. Fairy lights draped through the trees, and the sound of classical music floated from inside. Through the windows, I could see waiters in crisp uniforms weaving through the crowd with trays of champagne. I took a deep breath and stepped inside. The place looked like a scene from a lifestyle magazine. Everything elegant, expensive, and completely out of my league. The room was packed with strangers, socialites, influencers, and Leo's family, who all looked like they'd stepped straight out of a luxury fashion ad. I scanned the crowd for familiar faces but only spotted a handful of relatives, Uncle Paul, the lawyer, and Valerie, the heart surgeon, both looking just as uncomfortable as I felt. And then there she was, Samantha, floating down the staircase in a dress that screamed money, layers of white silk, lace, and probably a price tag that could fund my rent for a year. She looked stunning, no point denying it. But when her eyes landed on me, that radiant smile twisted into a sneer. She didn't even hesitate. She stalked straight over to me, heels clicking on the polished floor. Seriously, she hissed, her voice low but sharp enough to cut. That's what you chose to wear? Her eyes raked over my dress with thinly veiled disgust. You look like you're going to brunch at a mall, not my engagement party. I felt the heat creep up my neck, and for a second, my confidence wavered. But before I could say anything, I heard a warm, unfamiliar voice from behind me. There's my beautiful fiancé. I turned, and there was Leo, tall, handsome, and every bit the polished, charming man I expected. His parents, Carla and Greg, were right behind him, both radiating elegance. Samantha's entire demeanor flipped like someone had pressed a switch. The scowl vanished, and she slipped into his side, sugary sweet. Darling, she cooed, clinging to his arm. I want you to meet someone very special. I braced myself for the hit. This is my sister, Hannah. We're so close, aren't we, sweetie? She shot me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Close? I had to bite my tongue to keep from laughing. But Leo's mom, Carla, stepped forward, her expression warm and genuine. She took my hands. Hannah, it's lovely to meet you. We've heard so much about you. That threw me. I highly doubted they'd heard anything more than my name, if that, but I smiled politely, playing along. Pleasure's mine, I said, though I could feel Samantha's daggers from behind Carla's shoulder. The small talk was brief, and Samantha whisked Leo and his parents away, back into the spotlight. I let out a slow breath, my stomach knotting tighter with every passing minute. I was ready to slip out, say I showed up and call it a night. But the universe had other plans. I was heading toward the drink table, steering clear of the champagne and grabbing a glass of pomegranate juice instead. I just wanted a quick goodbye to Samantha so I could disappear. But then it happened. 1 second, I was moving through the crowd. The next, bam, someone collided into me from behind. Hard. My hand jerked, and the glass tipped forward. The deep red juice arced through the air, like some slow-motion nightmare, before splattering right across Samantha's pristine, white silk gown. The room fell to a suffocating silence. The stains spread across the fabric, a vivid, blooming scarlet flower. My heart stopped. "Oh my God!" I gasped, grabbing for a napkin. "Samantha, I'm so sorry. It was an accident. Someone bumped into me, But before I could even finish, the slap came. Hard, sharp, sudden. The sound cracked through the air, louder than the string quartet playing in the background. My face burned where her hand connected, and for a moment, the shock hit harder than the sting. Samantha stood there, trembling with rage, her makeup starting to smear from furious tears. "You clumsy idiot!" she screamed, her voice ringing through the stunned crowd. "You ruined my dress. You've ruined everything." I felt the weight of every pair of eyes on me. Guests, family, Leo's parents, all watching as my sister tore me apart. I turned desperately to my parents. Maybe, just maybe, they'd step in, defend me, say something. Mom caught my eye, her face stone cold. "Leave," she said, her voice low but sharp. "You've caused enough damage." Dad didn't even look at me, just stared at his shoes like they were the most fascinating thing in the world. I felt the air crush out of my chest. I didn't mean. "Get out," Samantha shrieked, her voice raw. The silence was deafening. I felt my throat close up, my vision blurring. My hands shook as I grabbed my purse. The crowd parted like I was contagious. I heard Carla's voice, concerned, speaking softly to Leo, but I couldn't process her words. Everything was muffled under the roaring in my ears. I barely remembered driving home. Just flashes of streetlights, stop signs, and my reflection in the rearview mirror, eyes wide and cheeks flushed, the red imprint of her slap still burning on my skin. The second I was inside my apartment, the dam broke. I slid down against the front door and sobbed. Ugly, raw, gasping tears. The kind you can't hold in even if you tried. It wasn't just about the party. It wasn't just about the dress. It was 27 years of being the family's afterthought, the punching bag, the shadow. And I had finally hit my breaking point. The next morning, my phone rang. I saw Samantha's name on the screen. For a fleeting second, a spark of hope flickered. Maybe, just maybe, she was calling to apologize. I answered, my voice hoarse. "Hello?" But what came next? Oh, Reddit. I wasn't ready. "You stupid, worthless disaster." Samantha's voice screeched through the speaker, venomous and shrill. "That dress cost $10,000. You are paying for it, plus another $10,000 for the emotional damage you caused me." I was stunned silent. My ears rang. "You want me to pay?" I finally managed. "After you." She cut me off. "You humiliated me, Hannah. You ruined my engagement party. You owe me." I felt my voice sharpen. "I'll pay for the dress." "Fine. It was an accident, and I'll take responsibility for that. But emotional damages?" I let out a hollow laugh. "No. Actually, you know what? No. After the way you spoke to me, after you slapped me in front of everyone, I'm not paying you a damn cent." I hung up. My hands were shaking, but this time, not from fear. From something that felt like the first crack of freedom. The phone buzzed immediately, this time, my mother's number. I didn't even want to pick up, but I knew she wouldn't stop calling. "Hannah." Her voice was sharp, cold. "You will pay your sister for the dress, and for the pain you caused her. You embarrassed her. And us. In front of everyone." I squeezed my eyes shut, my head pounding. "It was an accident, Mom. She slapped me in front of the whole party." "Well," she snapped, "what did you expect? You ruined her $10,000 gown. Do you have any idea how embarrassing that was for our family?" Something inside me cracked. "Embarrassing for you?" I said, my voice shaking. "What about me? What about how humiliating it was to be slapped in front of strangers? What about having my own parents stand there and say nothing while I was treated like trash?" Mom's voice turned ice cold. Either you pay what Samantha is asking, or you're on your own. Completely. It's your choice. I laughed. An empty, bitter laugh. You know what, Mom? That's not a threat. It's a gift. I'm done. Done being your scapegoat. Done being compared to her. Done being treated like I'm less. And I hung up. Then, I blocked their numbers. So, after I hung up on my mom and blocked their numbers, I expected some peace. But nope. My phone started exploding with texts from Samantha. And let me tell you, she was unhinged. You're pathetic, Hannah. Jealous loser. You've always hated me because you'll never be me. Pay up, or I'll drag you through court for damages. She wanted $20,000, $10K for the dress, and another $10,000 for her emotional trauma. Trauma from what, exactly? Being mildly inconvenienced in front of her millionaire fiancé? Please. I ignored her, but she didn't stop. She bombarded me with insults. You're a nobody with a dead-end job. Can't believe we're related. You're an embarrassment. You'll die alone in your sad little apartment while I live in luxury with Leo. It was vile. But then she slipped up. She let her mask fall. In her rage, she texted, "You're just bitter because I'm the one marrying into money. Leo's family are idiots. Rich and clueless. They'll never see me coming. Give me a year, and I'll have everything they own in my name. And Leo? Please. The man's a puppy. So easy to control. He thinks I love him. Imagine. As if I'd ever love that soft, boring fool." My stomach dropped. I stared at my screen, heart pounding. She didn't just trash me. She was trashing Leo, the guy who adored her, the guy who defended her. His family, too, the same family that welcomed her with open arms. I sat frozen, rereading her words. She wasn't marrying Leo for love. She was marrying his bank account, and she was laughing about it. I thought about Carla, Leo's mom. She had been so kind to me at the party. She didn't deserve this. They didn't deserve this. I hesitated. I knew that sending these messages would burn everything down. Samantha would never forgive me. My parents would turn against me completely. But then I thought about that slap, about how they stood there, watched me get humiliated, and said nothing. I thought about every time they made me feel like nothing because I wasn't Samantha. So, I took a deep breath and hit forward. I sent everything to Carla, screenshots of every text, every cruel insult, every vile plan. I didn't sugarcoat it. I let the truth speak for itself. I added a message. "Mrs. Carla, I'm sorry to reach out like this. You were so kind to me at the party, and I didn't want to get involved in your family's business. But I thought you should know the truth. Samantha isn't who she pretends to be. She's using Leo. She's planning to hurt your family. You deserve to know." Then I hit send, and I waited. The next 24 hours? Silent. No texts. No calls. I kept checking my phone every 5 minutes, my stomach churning. I didn't sleep. I kept wondering, did I do the right thing? Then, my phone buzzed. It was Carla. "Thank you for telling me, Hannah. I'm shocked and deeply saddened by what I've read. I always believed Samantha loved Leo for who he is. We trusted her. I can't thank you enough for showing me the truth before it was too late. I'm going to speak to Leo. I'll keep you updated." I exhaled, my hands shaking. I felt sick, relieved, and terrified all at once. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. My cousin Valerie, the heart surgeon, texted me. "Hannah, what did you do? Samantha's engagement is OFF. Leo dumped her. His mom showed him the texts. Samantha's going nuclear." Oh, my God. The fallout was immediate. Leo broke up with Samantha on the spot. Word spread like wildfire through the family. Samantha was furious, but instead of blaming herself, guess who became public enemy number one? Yours truly. It started with the phone calls. I had their numbers blocked, but they just found new numbers to harass me from. First came Mom. "What have you done?" she shrieked the second I answered. "You've destroyed your sister's life. She's devastated. You need to fix this. Call Carla. Tell her you lied." My voice was cold and steady. "I didn't lie, Mom. I sent Carla Samantha's own words. Samantha destroyed herself." Mom spat back. "You've always been jealous. You couldn't stand to see her happy. You've ruined her future out of spite. I felt something inside me snap. Spite? I shot back. You mean the way you silently watched while she slapped me and called me garbage in front of everyone? Or how you've spent my entire life comparing me to her and acting like I didn't exist? Mom's voice dropped, venomous and sharp. You've lost your family, Hannah. Don't bother calling us again. And she hung up. Next came Dad. I was honestly surprised. He rarely called me for anything, but his voice, flat, cold, hit me like a punch. I'm disappointed in you, Hannah, he said. Samantha's heartbroken. Leo's family thinks she's a monster. You've brought shame on this family. I couldn't hold back the bitterness in my voice. Samantha is a monster, Dad. She played all of you. She was planning to scam Leo's family out of their money. I saved them from getting hurt. Maybe if you ever opened your eyes, you'd see her for what she really is. His silence felt like a slap harder than the one Samantha gave me. Then he said, cold as ice, I hope it was worth it, because you're dead to us now. Then came Samantha herself. Oh, Samantha. She showed up at my apartment. Didn't even text, just pounded on my door like a lunatic. Through the peephole, I saw her. Mascara streaked, hair wild, her phone clutched in her fist like she was ready to throw it at me. Open this door, you backstabbing snake, she screamed. You ruined my life. I stayed right where I was, behind the locked door. Go away, Samantha. Her voice was a shriek, raw and wild. Leo dumped me because of you. His mother showed him those texts. You had an no right. I finally snapped. No right? I yelled back through the door. I had every right. You were going to scam his family. You were laughing about using him for money. She was practically hyperventilating now. You're just jealous. You've always been jealous of me. You wanted to ruin me. I felt my hands shaking, but my voice came out steady. No, Samantha. I didn't ruin you. You ruined yourself. I just let them see who you really are. Her voice turned vicious. You'll pay for this, she spat. You've lost Mom and Dad. You've lost everything. Then, like the storm she was, she turned on her heel and stormed off, her threats echoing down the hallway. I sat in silence, heart pounding. I felt hollow. I should have felt victorious, right? But I didn't. I felt like I had ripped something open, something raw and ugly. The next few days, I learned the full extent of the fallout through family gossip. Leo broke off the engagement and cut all ties with Samantha. His family blocked her from every event and brand deal connected to their name. Samantha's sponsors dropped her after the leaked screenshots of her cruelty surfaced online. Her social media empire? Crumbling. Her followers were roasting her for being a gold digger and a bully. But the worst part? My parents doubled down. They backed Samantha's version of events, telling everyone I was a jealous, vindictive sister who fabricated everything to ruin her life. My cousin Valerie, the only one who saw through the crap, called me. They're saying you lied, she said, voice tight. They're telling the whole family you faked the messages. But I know you didn't. Hannah, I believe you. I felt my throat tighten. Thanks, Val. But it doesn't matter. They've made their choice. And honestly, I'm done fighting for a family that never fought for me. The day after she showed up screaming at my apartment door, I woke up to another barrage of texts. This time, it wasn't just insults. It was threats. Hope you're ready, Hannah. I'm suing you for defamation. You'll hear from my lawyer soon. Better have a good one. You're going to need it. Oh, and don't forget, you still owe me $20,000. Dress and emotional damages. I'll see you in court. I stared at my phone, half laughing at the absurdity. Defamation? For what? Sharing her own words? But then, she went further. She started trashing me publicly, on her social media. Her Instagram story was a full-blown meltdown. My own sister betrayed me. She doctored messages to ruin my engagement out of pure jealousy. I've always supported her, but she's been obsessed with tearing me down. And of course, her followers, most of whom only knew her fake, curated persona, ate it up. My DMs turned into a war zone. Strangers calling me a liar, a bitter loser, a homewrecker. I felt sick. Then, the plot twist I didn't see coming. Carla called me again. But this time, Her voice was calm, almost amused. Hannah, she said, don't worry about Samantha's threats. She won't be suing anyone. I blinked. What? Why not? There was a pause then. Because we are. I swear I almost dropped my phone. Carla continued, her voice sharper now. After you sent me those messages, our lawyers started digging. Turns out, Samantha had been trying to access Leo's family trust before the wedding. She's been pulling strings, lying on documents, even approaching his father's business contacts behind Leo's back. What you sent us confirmed everything. I was stunned. I had no idea her schemes went that deep. Leo, Carla continued, wanted you to know how grateful he is. You saved him from a lifetime with someone who only wanted his wallet. Then she added, with a slight edge, and as for those defamation threats, Samantha might want to watch her step. If she dares file anything against you, we'll countersue. We've got everything, including proof of her financial scheming. The relief I felt? Indescribable. I wasn't alone in this. For once, someone was fighting for me. But, Reddit. Samantha, of course, couldn't leave quietly. The next day, she posted another rant. Full-blown tears this time. Mascara streaming. Hannah has destroyed my life. Leo's family is slandering me. I've lost everything. My career, my relationship, and now, my own family has turned their backs on me. And the kicker? My parents, the only people who ever truly loved me, are completely devastated. They've cut off all contact with Hannah, the person who caused all this pain. That part, at least, was true. My parents had chosen her. Completely. They weren't even hiding it. They were calling relatives, spinning the story that I was a jealous liar who faked evidence to ruin my sister's life. But here's the thing, Reddit. For once, I didn't care. Let them talk. Let them believe whatever they wanted. Because I finally saw it clearly. I'd spent years trying to win love from people who only cared about me when it was convenient. Years trying to prove myself to a family that only valued me if I stayed small, quiet, and invisible. And the second I stopped, the second I stood up for myself and chose truth over loyalty, they showed me exactly where I stood. So, I decided. I was done. I started blocking people. Family, flying monkeys, toxic friends who only reached out to scold me for hurting Samantha. Then, I did something I never thought I'd do. I unfollowed Samantha's social media, not because I was mad, but because I was free. Free from her spotlight. Free from the comparisons. Free from a life spent chasing their approval. A few days later, I got an unexpected call from Carla again. But this time, it wasn't about Samantha. Hannah, she said warmly, I heard you're still with the travel agency. Would you ever consider a change? I blinked. A change? Well, she said, our family's hotel group is expanding. We're launching luxury tours and experiences for our guests. We could use someone exactly like you, someone who knows the business and has integrity. I was speechless. So here I am, Reddit. I've accepted a brand new job, Director of Travel Partnerships. A huge promotion, better pay, new city, fresh start. As for Samantha, her influencer career, finished. Sponsors ran for the hills. The engagement? Over. Lawsuit threats? Gone. She's now crying to our parents, who are still blaming me for her downfall. But you know what? That's not my problem. It never was. So, if you're wondering if I feel guilty, the answer is no. Because for once in my life, I chose me, and I've never felt lighter. After everything, Samantha's meltdown, my parents disowning me, and the job offer from Carla, I packed up my life and moved. New apartment, new city, new job. Starting at the hotel group was intense. Huge clients, high stakes, and a mountain of projects. But for the first time in my life, I felt respected. Carla made it clear. I earned this role because of me, my skills, my integrity, my hard work. Of course, Samantha couldn't resist one last shot. She tried to destroy my new job before it even started. Yep. She emailed the hotel board claiming I was unstable and a pathological liar who fabricated the entire scandal. But guess what? Carla intercepted it. And instead of firing me, They filed a cease and desist against Samantha for harassment. Samantha's reaction? Well, she doubled down. She went live on Instagram, sobbing through a fresh PR pity party. My evil sister ruined my career and stole my fiancé's family, she wailed to her followers. The comments, though? Brutal. She literally exposed herself in those texts. Girl, we saw the receipts. This ain't sibling rivalry. This is karma. The internet saw through her. And for the first time, her followers weren't buying it. And my parents? Well, true to their word, they cut me off completely. They didn't reach out on my birthday. Didn't text when I moved. Nothing. But here's the kicker. When Samantha's career officially tanked and her sponsors dropped her, guess who moved back in with them? Yep, Samantha. And suddenly, Mom and Dad were drowning in her drama 24/7. Unpaid brand deals. Legal threats from her ex-sponsors. Screaming fights. Blaming them for never supporting her enough. And for the first time, they couldn't shove it onto me. My cousin Valerie, who's been my only family ally, sent me a text the other night. You missed quite the family dinner. Samantha threw a wine glass at the wall because your parents wouldn't buy her a car. I laughed. Hard. Then I paused and realized something. I didn't feel angry anymore. Not at Samantha. Not at my parents. I felt done. Done carrying their judgment. Done fighting for love they were never willing to give. Done letting their chaos live rent-free in my head. I wasn't the scapegoat anymore. I was free. So, where am I now? I'm thriving. I'm building partnerships with luxury resorts, flying to places I used to dream about visiting. I've got a cozy apartment with a view of the city skyline. Mine, paid for with my hard work. And best of all, I sleep peacefully every single night. As for my family, the door is closed, locked. Because here's what I've learned, Reddit. Sometimes, the family you're born into isn't the one you keep. Sometimes, the healthiest choice, the bravest choice, is walking away. Do I regret anything? No. I chose myself, my peace, my future. And for the first time, that's more than enough. So, that's my story. Thanks for sticking with me. I guess if there's one thing I'd say to anyone in my shoes, it's this. You don't owe your family your silence when they're hurting you. And choosing yourself? That's not betrayal. It's freedom. And damn, it feels good.